every single time you walk into a 7-Eleven and grab a cold bottle of Aquafina or Dasani, you are paying a 2,000% markup for the exact same liquid that flows through your toilet. No, that's not a conspiracy. Coca-Cola and Pepsi have turned a free human right into a multi-billion-dollar cash cow. I'm going to let you in on a massive secret that will change how you look at the grocery store forever. But it gets darker. That fresh squeezed orange juice, there's a reason it stays fresh for a year. A secret chemical cocktail developed by the same people who make your cologne.
They hide.
Literally. Picture this. It's a Tuesday. You're at the gym, or maybe you're just hitting the drive-thru at McDonald's. You feel a bit guilty about that Big Mac, so you do the healthy thing. You grab a bottle of Dasani. The label is a soothing blue. It's got pictures of crisp mountain peaks or words like pure, fresh, and eco-designed. You take a sip. It's cold, it's clean. You feel like you're doing your body a favor. Across North America, we've been conditioned to believe that bottled equals better. We assume that somewhere out there's a protected spring where Coke and Pepsi are carefully harvesting nature's bounty just for us. It's the ultimate psychological bait and switch. See, back in the 90s, the beverage giants realized soda sales were hitting a ceiling. They needed a new growth engine. So, they spent hundreds of millions on marketing campaigns designed to make you terrified of your own kitchen sink. They told you tap water was unreliable or chemical heavy. We spent $45 billion on bottled water last year alone. We do it because we want that premium experience. We want the peace of mind that comes with a factory seal. We think we're paying for quality, but in reality, we're just paying for the smoke and mirrors of a blue plastic wrapper. Have you ever actually looked at the fine print on the back of an Aquafina bottle? If these companies are spending billions on marketing purity, how are they also reporting record-breaking profit margins? I mean, think about the logistics. Shipping heavy glass or plastic across the country from a remote spring in the Alps? The math ain't mathin', folks. If they were actually sourcing from exotic springs, a bottle of water would cost as much as a glass of fine wine. But it doesn't. And yet, Aquafina is PepsiCo's top-selling brand. Not Pepsi, not Mountain Dew, water. Here's the glitch. If you look at the labels for Aquafina or Dasani, they don't mention a spring or an artesian well. They use phrases like public water source. That's corporate speak for the city tap. They are essentially printing money. If it's so cheap to produce, but they're selling it for $2.50 a pop, where is the water actually coming from? The reality is hidden in plain sight, buried under layers of clever FDA labeling and a branding strategy that belongs in a heist movie. Here's the wow moment. Coca-Cola and Pepsi are not water companies. They are bottling companies. Let's do some napkin math. 1,000 gallons of municipal tap water costs about $1.50. That's enough to fill roughly 7,500 bottles. Pepsi takes that $1.50 worth of water, runs it through a reverse osmosis filter, which is basically just a high-end version of the Brita on your counter. And suddenly, that $1.50 of raw material is worth over $18,000 in retail sales. They literally hook up a massive pipe to the municipal tap in places like Detroit, Phoenix, or Jacksonville. They are taking the exact same water that you use to wash your dog, adding a pinch of salt and magnesium to improve flavor, essentially making you thirstier, and slapping a 2,000% markup on it. This is the hydro empire. They finesse the public into believing that tap water is dangerous, while they buy that same water for fractions of a penny. They're selling you a plastic security blanket. Think of it like a landlord who doesn't own the building but charges you rent to stand in the hallway. They don't own the source, you do. Your taxes paid for the pipes, the treatment plants, and the infrastructure. They just intercepted it at the finish line, put it in a bottle, and sold it back to you. They rigged the game so well that they sold us back our own infrastructure. Second secret, the one about the fresh orange juice in your fridge. Because the OJ industry is even more of a house of cards than the water business. You see, not from concentrate and 100% pure on a carton of Tropicana, and you think, someone squeezed an orange into this carton. Nope, that is a massive corporate finessing. When orange juice is produced on a massive scale, it's a seasonal product, but you want it in the store all year round. So the companies squeeze millions of oranges at once and store the juice in giant million-gallon vats. To keep it from rotting for a year, they perform a process called de-aeration. They strip all the oxygen out of the liquid. But here's the kicker. When you strip oxygen, you also strip all the flavor, all the aroma, all the orangeness. By the time that juice is ready to be bottled months later, it's a gray, flavorless sludge. So how does it taste like Florida sunshine? The companies hire fragrance houses, the same people who make Chanel No. 5 or Cool Water Cologne, to engineer flavor packs. These are artificial chemical cocktails specific to each brand that re-flavor the juice right before it hits the carton. That fresh smell when you open the cap, that's an engineered perfume. That zesty finish, lab-grown. They aren't lying on the label because the chemicals are technically derived from orange byproducts, but it's about as natural as a Hollywood facelift. To protect your wallet, get a Brita filter for the water and buy actual oranges for the juice. The corporate version of Fresh is just a well-funded rabbit hole designed to keep you paying for things you already own.